Kody never loved Meri. Rewatching the show from the beginning, it's hard to believe that Kody claims he never loved Meri. His affectionate behavior towards her, especially in seasons 1 to 4, clearly shows he did. The story of their wedding is particularly beautiful. Kody singing at their wedding, and again on the show while gazing into her eyes, is proof of his love for her. While his relationships with Janelle and Christine seem more rooted in duty, as he mentions in season 18, it's unfair for him to say he never loved Meri or that their love was fake. The scene where Kody sings to Meri on the couch is my favorite of the entire series. It's the only time I don't completely dislike him. Although Meri isn't everyone's favorite, the way he looks at her leaves no doubt he loved her. It's sad and troubling to see how much he's changed over time, especially with Meri. Considering Kody's recent extreme beliefs, Meri's separation from him might be a blessing in disguise. Her convincing him to invest in the B&B was a smart move, providing her with a place to live and a business to sustain her lifestyle. While it's disheartening to see how he talks about her now compared to the early seasons, at least she didn't end up in Janelle's position without any assets. Now, Meri is free to date someone who isn't a broke narcissist. Kody likely thought Meri was a good match because of their limited dating pool. She's shy, doesn't upstage his need for attention, and accepts polygamy. While Kody may have liked her romantically, it wasn't deep. His singing to her was more of a performance for attention. He kissed her, sang to her, and held her hand because he was playing the role of a devoted husband, boosting his ego. I've always thought Meri was his favorite before Robin, but the story of the melted wedding ring makes me question that. It seems Meri might have fallen out of favor and enthusiastically welcomed the idea of a fourth wife to get back into Kody's good graces and find an ally in Robin. She was often the odd one out with Christine and Janelle. Does anyone know when the ring meltdown happened? I agree, and that's likely why Meri was cut off the hardest when Robin came along. Meri was Kody's real wife, the one he initially loved. Christine and Janelle were secondary. When Kody felt a stronger love for Robin than for Meri, he replaced his longest-standing wife with the newest one. They married young, in a high-control conservative religion, and it's not surprising they drifted apart. Both admitted to having a volatile relationship. At some point, Kody realized they weren't compatible romantically and harbored anger and resentment towards Meri, especially after the catfish incident. Eventually, his feelings changed. He was no longer hostile and could laugh with her, wishing her happiness. Kody likely loved Meri in a familial way but was never truly in love with her. I think Kody and Meri fit together better than any of the others. It's unfortunate how things turned out. Meri was once his favorite, and they had a close friendship. She stayed so long because she held on to that early love. Meri was willing to work on their marriage, but Kody never was. I believe Kody has always been a closet monogamist. Meri wasn't just his favorite wife, she was his only true wife. Christine was more like the bang nanny, and Janelle was his FWB, although they were actually friends. If Meri had been able to have many children like Michelle Duggar, Kody might never have married Christine. Everything changed with Robin, of course. It was a midlife crisis move for Kody. His wives were aging, and he didn't like the reminder that he was getting older too. So he found himself a hot diesel model and never looked back. From the day they married, if not before, she was his only wife in his mind. Kody experienced a different kind of love with Robin, and now he retroactively views his relationships with the original 3 wives, the OG 3, differently, convincing himself that the love he felt for them wasn't real because it wasn't like what he has with Robin. He definitely loved Meri, which is why he fights so hard to deny it now. It makes you wonder how much love he truly had for Meri, given that he has repeatedly claimed he regretted marrying her within the first year. Meri herself mentioned that Kody began courting an underage girl just 3 months into their marriage. Like many Mormon weddings, their union was more about physical attraction than love. They didn't really know themselves or each other beforehand. Despite all this, I believe Kody loved all of his wives. While he wasn't initially sexually attracted to Christine, he was drawn to her background, her willingness to have children with him, and her desire to be a plural wife. He was attracted to everything about her except physically. Regardless of what he says now, he appreciated that she kept the family together, stroked his ego, and complied with his authority. Meri was the one who supported and encouraged Kody. She made it clear she would always be there for him. Even after they stopped having sexual relations, he loved her for what she did for his ego. With Janelle, he was very attracted to her both physically and mentally from the beginning. She was different from the typical polygamous women. She talked about finances and money and wasn't a virgin. Janelle appreciated a different side of Kody than Meri did, and Kody loved being appreciated from all angles. It was obvious he still had feelings for Janelle, especially after they attended that funeral together. I think it was Janelle's mom's funeral. Robin hanging around the fence, trying to get Kody's attention, made me laugh so hard. I've been through bad relationships and thought, well, I guess it wasn't really love after all. True love wouldn't be abusive like that, so it wasn't really love. To me, true love might hurt sometimes, but not because your partner chooses to hurt you. True love, in my mind, is like a soulmate. Kody needs to clarify that they weren't his true loves, but he did love them, even after he was with Robin. His love for them didn't just disappear overnight. Robin was always luring him to replace for any reason she could think of, pulling him away from the OG3, making them feel less loved while he got excited about this shiny new one. I don't think Kody is anyone's true love, but he did love them all at one point. He should at least admit that instead of trying to erase their reality and deny them closure. I could be wrong, but I really think Kody dislikes women in general. Robin even admits he tries to sabotage their relationship. He's as giddy as a teenager when hanging out with his male friends. Not saying he's gay, but he definitely has a problem with women, despite having had 4 very different ones. I think he loved Meri, but he always had the hots for Janelle. Christine, I believe, was chosen because of her family background. She was polygamy royalty. In the early seasons, it was so obvious that he was in love with Meri. It was incredibly sweet how attentive he was to her, trying to make her feel special. I also believe he loved Christine too. He's just being a crybaby, taking jabs whenever he can. I recently watched Cousin Ben's YouTube about Season 1, Episode 4. Christine is giving birth, and Kody criticizes Christine's ex-husband for leaving her alone. It's uncomfortable for someone raised in polygamy to see that. Then, Kody kisses Robin instead of rushing back to the hospital. Whatever you might think of him, I applaud him for this summation. He has a lot of good insight and is very informative, points he makes. Robin being comfortable kissing another woman's husband before marriage. The value placed on kissing in their culture, where it is seen as giving a part of your soul and heart away. How insincere and manipulative Robin comes across when Christine is upset about it, yet Robin is the one crying and seeking comfort, taking away from Christine's feelings. Despite knowing how serious the culture takes kissing before marriage, Kody and Robin kissed after their engagement and again during Truly's birth, completely disregarding Christine's feelings. Ben also describes how Kody and his father viewed their kids as a business, using them for labor and exploiting them for money by showcasing their childhoods on television. The children had no choice and didn't benefit financially from the show. I concur with all these points, and I think your summary is very well written. The book mentioned that the older kids of the OG-13 survived on MREs and old bread they helped bake on Wynn's compound. It's heartbreaking to see them exploited for labor at the bakery and then for the show. Many posts ask when the end started for the OG-3. I always think it began in Season 1. Christine was very forthcoming about her issues with taking a fourth wife from the start. Those two were sexting during her labor. Go back and watch. That's when I knew they were having an affair. Just look at their faces as they texted. They were not discussing Christine's labor progression. And Sobin claims they fell in love in that car, the convertible Kody used when courting her. Robin's mother was no more than a mistress living in a different state, so it's not a big stretch to see Robin in the same way. Didn't Robin's mother say something about Robin getting her sent out there? In Ben's summary of S1E6, he notes that Robin cries a lot. It could be a drinking game. I digress, but I find his insights into why the other wives accepted all this nonsense quite revealing. I'm absolutely loving Ben's rewatch since he has never seen the show before. His reveals about life with his father, Kody's brother, and grandfather, Kody's father, provide a lot of insight into Kody's world. Ben is more honest than anyone else who has spoken about this family. Thank goodness he is not on TLC's payroll. I'm really enjoying these episodes too. I couldn't understand why everyone in the Kody Brown family nodded to the mission statement, acted or reacted in certain ways. Ben is shedding light on this for me, and I hope he continues. Robin is the ultimate opportunist. She knew exactly what she was doing from the start. She saw dollar signs in marrying Kody. Rewatching, I noticed that when they started dating, she lived in a plain, modest house and wore simple clothes, probably earning around $25,000 a year. Now she has a net worth of about $600,000 and is always shopping. She's an opportunist who took her kids away from their dad, who now has leukemia. If I were her kid, I'd hate her. Robin's mom Alice advised her to get her sent out there and gave her more manipulation advice. Alice did a number on her, and now Robin is doing the same to her kids. Christine is cousins with Robin's ex-husband, so I'm sure she heard through the grapevine about the upcoming TV show and purposely sought Kody out. I don't buy the story that Meri introduced them. I think Kody told her to lie and say it was her idea to make him look better. I believe Robin and Kody were already seeing each other before the other wives knew about her. She saw her chance to cash in on fame and fortune, had an affair, and convinced Kody to bring her into the family. She struck up a relationship with Meri to make it look good and even got tips from Kody on how to approach Meri. Robin clearly saw dollar signs from the beginning. In the book, Robin mentioned that she wasn't sure about Kody and needed a sign that she was meant to be with him and the family. I don't recall her ever mentioning what that sign was, but eventually, she came around to the idea that she was meant to join the family. I think she saw the potential for money and how easy it could be to become the head wife eventually. In the episode where Kody sells his white convertible to his friend Brian, Robin said she got her sign that she was supposed to be with Kody in that convertible. She also mentioned they had lots of good memories in that car, whatever that means. I'm sure Robin knew at the dance, which someone here commented was a church dance meant to set up polygamous families with single women, that there was a possibility of being on a TV show if she impressed Kody. This description of Robin reminds me of Kyle Richards' mother, Big Kathy. The manipulation of men, climbing the ladder for more money and fame, and being not so secretly villainous to everyone around her. If you know Big Kathy, Kathy Hilton, Kyle, and Kim Richards' mom, then you know what I mean. People often say that Kody was broke before the show, to the point where one of his baby mamas filed for bankruptcy 10 months before the show premiered. What 30-year-old, somewhat pretty gold digger sets her sights on a guy with 13 kids and 3 wives? In Season 18's Talkback episode, the bad acting and rehearsed dialogue were painfully obvious. Robin and Kody were doing PR the entire time, and their conversations felt fake and deliberate. Robin kept up the sulkiness for most of the show, but the mask slipped when they talked about Kody's hair, and she burst into a grin. This made it even more apparent she was putting on the pout and arguing with Kody for appearance's sake. No shade, please don't hate me. I absolutely adore Jen, and I love that Meri brought her in to say the quiet parts out loud. But it was awkward watching her pretend to be surprised by Robin's antics at the picnic table. Meri acted like she never considered Jen's perspective on Robin before. Like, come on, we know you guys have talked about this. But overall, it was fantastic that Jen joined. She is amazing. I find it odd that Big Britches Meri stated, "Oh, I'm going to talk," but then gets coy and giggly when Jen plays her mouthpiece. I agree that it was heavily rehearsed with Kody and Robin, but I wonder what their goal was. It's not like they have fans who care that their relationship is strained. The most I could think was that Robin wanted to set up an exit story and convinced Kody that ignoring her misery would create a different narrative. The worst acting was Meri and Jen, but at least their script made sense in providing a cohesive narrative. One of the prevailing themes was, it's not Robin's fault. Hence, Robin calling Kody out for not taking responsibility for the failure of the relationships. She has to keep up the facade that she wanted the other marriages to work out and was supportive of the other wives. Meri and Jen have been friends for over 10 years. Jen only became a paid employee when Meri's mom died, and she took over the B&B.